Yeah, I was actually telling the boys about the life I was living in Pakistan. Like, someone asked me a question like, "Have you been in a street fight?" So I actually end up like 10 times out of nine, you will end up in a street fight because sometimes their teams are like doing like unfair decisions, and then it just starts like people go nuts, and then the boom boom, it's a punch on straight away. so, so one time I was actually on the non-strikers end, and my friend was he called me for a single, and I made like what it looked to me like I made the run, I completed the run, but he gave out. So I was just angry, and then I just punched him in the face, and it's like we were like doing like takedown stuff, but it never happened. so his nose was bleeding. Yeah, so that was the thing, and it just happens like we love to fight over there. That's all. See, like I have a thing over here. Actually, my head. Can you see a head? There's a
Oh, yeah.
thing over here.
Yeah.
It's actually this being stitched, and it was hit by a bat, like a cricket bat.
Oh.
So when I like when we were, I was holding him like I was holding him at like that. How would I say the grip, like seat belt grip or
Oh, yeah.
cross.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was holding him, and he had a bat in his hand, and he just did the bat like this. So my head was open. I had to go in the emergency and stitch it out. So yeah, that was awful.
Well, jiu-jitsu sort of found me through a friend, very close friend, Jesse, and I was looking for something that both involves the physical aspect, but also the mental aspect and the community. So it ticked all those boxes and more. Yeah.
There's kind of there's two parts to this question or this answer. Why jiu-jitsu? Well, part one of this is I kind of always had an interest in martial arts, and I've been playing other sports that took up all of my like physical doing stuff with my body time for the last 10 years or so. So I did some judo, 2 or 3 years worth when I was kind of between 17, 18, 19. Not super seriously, maybe once or twice a week type thing. Really enjoyed it, loved it, heaps of fun. Wasn't particularly good at it, but it was just, I liked the physicality of it, the contest, the complexity of it, and the idea that there's like a martial secret code or language that allows you to apply force in different ways, and you can overcome bigger opponents. Like I bought into that and enjoyed that. So I was always interested in martial arts broadly and kind of combat sport stuff, but I couldn't do it for a long time. And then I came back and I started doing judo again, and I always kind of had a vague interest in BJJ, but I kind of always looked down my nose a little bit, kind of as judo's like like judo's like the dad in the house smoking a pipe with a and kind of a little bit stuffy, a little bit stuck in their ways. And BJJ is like the cool uncle that probably smokes and drives a Valiant and like sits in the driveway revving the engine, and so I'd always, it was kind of on the outside of my consciousness. But I had a kid in my class, and he was really good at BJJ, He didn't tell me his mates did. And I was kind of like, oh, that's interesting. And it was interesting because one of his hands was, it kind of wasn't it didn't work like a normal hand. Some of the fingers kind of were bent back and they were stuck there, and his thumb was a particular shape and it was kind of bending back, and it kind of, it didn't function like a standard issue hand did. And that was really interesting because I knew enough about BJJ. I knew it was a grappling art. And what I knew about grappling was that you needed hands to do it. And the idea that this kid kind of had gone and won multiple junior state title stuff with one hand was really interesting to me. And I talked to him about it, and he said, "Yeah, man, yeah, no, like my dad is into it as well, and I am too." And
Is that
he explained that he actually used his hand.
Sorry, is that Arbad Tap's son?
Yeah,
Okay.
Connor.
Yeah,
Connor Tap. Yeah, and he explained that he used his hand like a weapon, and could kind of get these weird grips on people because it was like this backward hook that just they couldn't get rid of. They couldn't get rid of this hook, and he actually used it to his advantage. And I was like, that's so interesting. That's so awesome. The idea that you can take something that would typically be seen as a disabling factor and actually turn it into a weapon in this system. I'm like, that's cool. That's really interesting. I'm gonna give it a crack.
So actually, I've always been interested in martial arts, and I told you that 9 times out of 10 in Pakistan you will end up in a fight anyway. So I wanted to be better at fighting. That's the thing. First of all, when I came to Australia, like I changed myself totally. I stopped like being a red bag or whatever. I just changed myself, and I thought that I'm gonna be a nice kid and gonna do the right thing and not gonna get in trouble. So I always had a thing for martial arts. I didn't know about jiu-jitsu at all, and then I used to watch some UFC and no idea about jiu-jitsu. But one day, like Aaron, yeah, Aaron.
Yep.
So I actually met Aaron at a mosque because Aaron is a brother as well. So I just greeted him, and I used to do weights at that time. Like I was doing weights, so I had a little bit. I was wearing half sleeves, so he thought that I used to do exercise. So he asked me like, what do you do weights? I'm like yes, and we had a really good conversation. So he's like, you should come to jiu-jitsu, like try jiu-jitsu. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm always interested in that. Like, I didn't know him. So he's like, send me a video for jiu-jitsu. I watched out, and I was like, yeah, it's interesting. He's like, I asked him, what we do in jiu-jitsu? He's like, just choke people, just it's typical Aaron, like just choke people, just break their neck, break their arm, or whatever. Yeah, I was like, wow. And then I said to him, man, I'm so tiny. I don't know I'm gonna be able to survive or not. It's like, no, don't worry about that. Like, there's people in our gym that comes. So he must be referring to Tyson. so, yeah, so he's like, just come. And long behold, I started watching some videos, and I was like, yeah, I'll try it out. I'll have a look. And Aaron was really motivating me with doing that, and he was the biggest factor starting jiu-jitsu as well. Like he got me into this, and he just helped me with so many things. Like I cannot tell you. Like he's just an amazing brother. And he's like uh, said to me like, come and try the first 3 classes. And I went there. I saw the guys, and our club is amazing, as a gym. But one thing I didn't really strike me was like, and then I asked Aaron about it as well. Like, uh, I was like, man, it's the first class. I don't know what's going on. Like, and you were teaching something about like, uh, it was some X. I don't know. It was an X guard or some. It was a kind of takedown thing, and I was like, I can't even understand one thing in that one. So it's like, see, in jiu-jitsu, it's not like from day one. It's not like day one, day two, day three. You just go in there and you learn. And I
Yep.
was like, okay, I'll try my best. So I kept coming, kept coming, kept coming. Well, I just like I get pounded every time I came, like in open match, and like Anthony still crushes me all the time, like and Eric Amani is the intensity fighting with him is just like amazing, like I like to do takedowns as well. So and then I found like I was actually finding it mentally peacefulness as well, like uh, having a shit day and then coming to train to jiu-jitsu, just it clears your mind, you know. It's like a meditation for me, like I used to do I did weights, and then I did some yoga, and I was always wanted to be in boxing. I told you once that I was doing taekwondo, like kickboxing kind of thing. um, I was actually learning from a Korean guy. He was like a beast, like a weapon, uh, and he was teaching me some kicks. So I was just doing some kicks, like no boxing stuff, and I didn't know about grappling or sparring at all. So Aaron told me about it, and then I looked into it. So I decided, yeah, I'm gonna do jiu-jitsu. I'm gonna do sparring, and it's till that day, the first day of my training, and till now, the only reason for the focus, like focus is really important, and I'm trying to get myself fit. I'm really bad at fitness. My cardio is really bad. So I've been working on my cardio as well, but yeah, I'm gonna keep doing it, and I just love it. Like I just like jiu-jitsu, it's like it's like most of the time I ask questions to Aaron about it. He's like tap 1,000 times, like just tap, keep tapping, and don't think about winning or losing. Winning or losing, it's not important. Just learn, and then it's just my the guy who teaches me, my like professor. You're really good with your like attitude wise, not you don't have any attitude or something, arrogance or stuff like that. I really like that, and you just listen to some, like you listen to people and you want to make them do things better. So that's why I kept coming, and I still want to keep coming in future. Always like I want to keep training, and get better and better. That's what it is.
Because a good chef friend of mine was very persuasive and was very persistent in insisting that none of the front of house staff come through the kitchen door because he's lying on the ground demonstrating a move on himself. Yeah, that's a little shout out to Aaron. I think jiu-jitsu was one of those things that always called me out on my bullshit, and it always was there niggling in the back of my mind. And I think I've always got that voice that doesn't let me have excuses. I think that, if you can be the person to be the exception when most people use the excuse as a form to give up, then that's something pretty awesome. So I think jiu-jitsu, I got injured, as most people sometimes do, especially when they don't know what they're doing. It's part and parcel of the art, and I'm sure people like yourself know all about injuries.
Yes.
But I think it's I think it's one of those things that it never sort of left until I went back and actually sort of did it properly as much as I could. Yeah, there's just so much as to why it's probably one of the best things I've ever done.
Got invited several times by Aaron. He would talk about it when he came in. and he'd encourage me and say that I should go. And that was probably for quite a while, and then was looking for a change, something to change my monotonous routine that I had developed, and decided to come along just to see what it was, and came along, and something about it kind of made me want to come back and see more.
Why not? Well, it was quite a process actually. I mean, I was thinking of grappling art to learn, and originally judo was. I mean, I know judo's. Well, I mean, the way I see judo is kind of like the boxing of grappling. Like, it's really good at what it has. It's got really crisp, it's really clean, it's basic but advanced, and it's an amazing art, you know. Focusing on those throws and those takedowns. But jiu-jitsu just probably the puzzle likeness of jiu-jitsu, and the fact that it's you know. It seems that you can do a lot with it. At first, I thought jiu-jitsu years ago, I thought that it looked a bit silly with people on the ground with legs wrapped around each other. I thought, oh, that looks really compromising. I'm not sure if I want to be in that position. I'd rather just kick someone in the face before I get down there. But it's not quite like that. You know, I used to think that striking was superior. You know, I thought, well, you know, striking is superior to grappling. You know, but I believe I was mistaken. So, yeah, I came to that realization at the stage that I did, and started doing jiu-jitsu, and then realized how insanely incredible it is, and, you know, found a great club, Saber. Yeah, and a really good bunch, you know. Saber, it's just don't look back. It's great. Yeah, and then I find out that it's actually it seems more like a bit of a physical language, you know, like you have, you know, it's just so variable, you know. So I feel like after doing jiu-jitsu, I have a physical workout and mental workout, and that's a pretty good thing. That's pretty cool, you know. Like if you've been doing some puzzles while you're physically active, I think it's great. So yeah, there's heaps of reasons why jiu-jitsu. I've always been interested in martial arts. You know, I've done kickboxing, I've done traditional Japanese martial arts as well. You know, but jiu-jitsu really, yeah, that just, you know, I fell in love with jiu-jitsu as a physical sport. You know. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely nothing. Jesse said to me, "Oh, do you know how to wrestle?" I was like, "Yeah, I used to wrestle with my brother," and he took me down to his house. He's like, "All right, I'm going to show you some things." So we had a wrestle, and then within 10 seconds, he's there submitting me with a choke, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what is this?"
I knew the UFC 1 story, which anyone does, or not anyone, but anyone who's interested in fighting and UFC stuff and combat sports knows. I knew it was ground based. I knew it was kind of punk, and you know, you could wear whatever gear you wanted. It could be any color, and I knew it was kind of pretty hardcore. You know, it was taken pretty seriously. Maybe a little bit, or maybe, well, this is what I thought. Know and think are different in this case. So yeah, as I was saying before, it was kind of the cool uncle, you know, in the Valiant, probably with tattoos type thing, like maybe with a bit of a wild haircut.
Fluffy dice on the rear vision.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Maybe he's got a firearm in the glove box. You don't know. It's never mentioned, but it could be there. Yeah, so I didn't know a lot. I knew it was had a relationship to judo. You know, common ancestry, and there was a lot of crossover techniques. I knew that from watching BJJ and being like, oh, that's a Jujikatami. Oh, that's like he's just foot swept him. Like, oh, that's a that's a way of attacking turtle that I've been taught in my judo class. Like I recognize that, but that was kind of it. I didn't know anything about no-gi. I didn't know anything about ADCC. I didn't know any of the big names or anything like that. It was all a bit mysterious.
Yep.
Nothing.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know anything about it. I just didn't know anything about it, and just I knew about some. Actually, when I was working in mainland, I had a colleague who was a purple belt. I didn't know about that. He was a purple belt, and he used to say to me that come to jiu-jitsu, come to jiu-jitsu. But in Sydney and Melbourne, it's so expensive jiu-jitsu. Like it's unbelievably pricey, and all the time I thought about going. I was like, far out, man. It's too expensive. I can't afford that much. I can't afford that much. I can't afford. So I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, and but like as I'm saying to you, like I just wanted to be better at fighting and other stuff. Like, but this can like jiu-jitsu it's just an eye opener for me. Like you can do so many things. You can just bloody choke people out, put them to sleep, and like you break their arm and break their elbows and stuff.
Yeah. Apart from the demonstrations that I got given on the floor of the kitchen when I was an apprentice, not a great deal. It was sort of one of those words that just sort of got thrown around, and you just sort of thought, oh yeah, some sort of martial arty thing, but you were never really sure what it was. Whether it was striking, grappling, you just saw sort of gis, kimonos, and you're like, oh yeah, I think that's probably what it would be like. But I really had no exposure to it apart from a little bit of UFC, perhaps some arm bars, rear naked chokes. When you're in high school and you sort of thought it was cool to fight people, and went to a MMA class and realized that there's a lot more to it than just being cool and watching a MMA movie. So I think, yeah, my exposure was pretty vanilla before I got properly introduced.
Absolutely nothing. First night I came, I had absolutely no idea. Never really heard of it. Just came along because I was invited to see what it was like.
I knew it was strictly grappling. I knew it had a huge competition base compared to basically any of the other martial arts. I knew that it was probably where we are here and the mainland too. I think it's pretty big these days. Jiu-jitsu, it's looking at the growth. It's grown heaps and heaps and heaps, and that's pretty promising sign when you look at that. And so I knew that it was highly competitive, and that would help tune skills. I didn't know too much about the rule set as such, but like I said, I knew it was strictly grappling. I knew it was a lot of stuff in the ground. I've heard of the Gracies and things like that. I've been to it, like before I officially started training with you guys, I've been to a couple of jiu-jitsu classes in the past, but still, it didn't give me that. The club was nowhere near as good, one, and it didn't give me the kind of a scope that I needed to actually see when I started training, and stuck to it now. I saw quite quickly with Saber. I saw quite quickly this amazing scope, and I just wanted in. I wanted in. I was like, wow, that's really cool. So I didn't know too much about it as such. I knew enough. I don't know. Maybe I knew what another martial artist might have known about jiu-jitsu that hadn't done. I mean, had maybe gone to one or two classes before. I've been to, I don't know, I think I might have gone to a couple. I've been to a few different, I've been to judo and stuff as well, but just a little dabble. So I didn't know too much really.
Yep. That's good. All right. Next question. How often do thoughts of BJJ keep you awake at night?
when every time after training, because I like to reflect on what went wrong, or even if I had a great session, I think about how good that was, and I learned this, and I'm just like, oh, what can I do now, or what's more with that? Yeah.
They don't keep me awake. They help me get to sleep. It's funny because when I messaged you a while ago and said like, hey, what can I do to keep the fire burning? And you talked about visualization. I was already doing that. I guess the difference was like I'd go home after a class and I'd sit there and I'd go through something that had happened, or I'd rehearse the correct thing after being told what that was to try and remember it. And I'd kind of replay it slowly and precisely as many times as I could. So that would be kind of the way I went to sleep, and that's kind of how I did my hockey stuff as well. I'd sit there and I'd visualize a particular movement as precisely as I could to kind of ingrain it. And there's good evidence that you're actually activating similar neural pathways to when you're actually practicing yourself. And they've done studies looking at groups that train. I think it was baseball. They studied so they got guys in the net, they got them hitting balls, and then they got guys doing nothing at all, and then they got guys sitting there and imagining hitting balls or throwing balls, whatever you do at baseball. And the results between the no hitting but visualizing and the hitting were not dissimilar in terms of their progress over a shorter period of time. And the people that did nothing at all, their performance decayed pretty consistently. So visualize, it's a good part of practice if you can do it with clarity and don't get stuff wrong, I guess. Which was my other concern, because I was like, am I doing this right without being able to go and check or have you look at it, or have someone look at it and be like, oh, actually your knee's in the wrong position, because I didn't know. I still don't. So it's a bit harder to rehearse. So often in the class I'll pick one or two really specific things, and my goal has always been to remember 2 things per week and just remember them. So I'll sit and rehearse them, and I've got my little dummy thing, and I'll rehearse on that as much as I can, as long as it doesn't have to react too much. And it's a similar kind of thing. It's visualization, but you've got an aid to similar exercise.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I was telling this one to Tyson, the other day. As an Aaron as well. I was like, last few, like it happened to me 3 or 4 times. When I try to stay in my side when I'm sleeping, I do a hip escape. I don't know. I do a hip escape when I try to change my side, and I don't know. It's just I told us like that's the only thing, and sometimes when someone throws me, like I can feel that it comes into my mind that I've been thrown, like really bad, like, and yeah, so that's the thing that stays in my mind a lot.
All the time. It's whether it's I think it's everyone gets it. It's that, oh damn it, how did I get into that position? And I think it's always quite beautiful how the body will recreate how you're feeling and how you're thinking. Quite often I've been lying at night, sort of with a significant other, and we're sort of, in some form of embrace, and then I sort of start to breathe heavily and kind of start to tense up a little bit. And they're like, are you okay? I'm like, oh yeah, sorry. I was just, your body starts to kind of, really react to how it felt when the beautiful part is, you essentially die, right? Every time, you just hope that the person stops, but still to your brain, it's like, we need to fix that because we almost died. And that kind of growth is unparalleled, because most other times you would have to put yourself in legitimately life-threatening situations, whereas most of the time jiu-jitsu is pretty safe.
After training, almost all of them for quite a while, and for the last few weeks, I've been waking up to dreams. So yeah, lately a fair bit more than beforehand.
Well, these days, not so much, to be honest, which is a shame. But when we're training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you know, I'd come home and I'd be tired. I'd feel like I had an incredible workout, but my mind was just buzzing, you know, like there's so many neurons just flashing in my mind. And I might just kind of, sometimes I'd come back and just find a match and watch it, you know, or just watch it, maybe just watch one of the channels that I like, you know, just, okay, that looks cool. What's their perspective on something? Just to kind of appease my neurons a little bit there. And then, yeah, going to bed, it would keep me up sometimes. It would keep me up, yeah. So I would say, yeah, it happens, that's for sure. I can't, it's hard now because we haven't trained for like, I don't know, what, 8 weeks or something, you know. Yeah, so it's happened, and it used to happen semi-frequently. So,
Yeah. No.
yeah.
Yes. Good. All right. Is there more to BJJ than meets the eye? Is it more than just something for competition and fitness?
Yeah, there's way more than meets the eye. I think it's like a Pandora's box. You know, the biggest thing stand out for me is the fitness, but also the mental games, and the chess side of things. But also the same time, you don't have to think too hard. Like it can go off muscle memory, and just yeah, and the like sort of primitive, you know, just raw there.
I think it certainly can be. Like anything, you can take a variety of things out of it. It's certainly a lot of fun. It's certainly good for your fitness. I haven't compared it, but I wanted to. Well, I almost did, but I imagine the competition's good for you in the same way that anything that pushes you is good for you. But like beyond that, it can help in that community sense, in that focusing sense. And it also has that wonderful Zen quality with anything that's taking a lot of your focus and that's right at the edge of your capacity to do. And as a beginner, everything's at the edge of my capacity. So you go in there and you roll for an hour and a half of an open mat and you're like, I certainly wasn't thinking about my mortgage. I wasn't thinking about my marking that I need to do. I wasn't worrying about anything because there's not really the space to worry. Like you have to stay focused and concentrating for that period of time. I don't know if those qualities are unique to BJJ or if you can get them in other combat sports. But there's something really nice about rolling, particularly towards the end of a session when you're tired and they're tired and you're both just, we joke about 60% rolling stuff, but there's a really nice quality to it. There's a really nice quality to 60% rolling if you can do it and let go of your ego and not worry. I think it's harder. It's something I've only managed to do more recently because I can dance a little bit. I've got a little bit more language. I know it's like when you're learning a language and you've only got 3 sentences. Hammers and nails. Like if the only thing you can do is kind of like dive in for an armbar, then that's the only part of the conversation you can have. Whereas when you start to learn like, you do this, I do this, I do this, you do that, then I do that. And then you start to move and it becomes a dance and it becomes complex and you start looking for little nuances. And at first you can't do that. You're really kind of fragmented in your discussion. And a lot of it's just like, I don't know what you're doing, but you're trying to get to my neck, so I'm going to stop you doing that. I don't know what you're trying to do, but I'm going to stop you doing that. Whereas, yeah, now that I can move a little bit and relax a little bit, there's a really nice quality to just wrestling gently, but intelligently and with intensity, with someone. It's fun in a different way to other things. So I guess that's a unique quality. Yeah.
No, it's for me, it's more than that. For me, it's more than that because I told you, uh, it's for me, it's really mentally really helping me as well. Uh, uh, because I've been recent in my past, like it's very been facing with really hard decision on my mind as well. It's something with the family, so it just helped me too much when I come to training, and uh, I can feel my mind is doing, because this thing, we have to take care of our mental health as well. You know, mental health is a big thing we have to take care, and no one wants to talk about it. So for me, it's just mentally really helping me. Like, it's really helping me to clear my mind. I'm trying to do this as well to get uh, better in my fitness as well. But it's not like just competition and stuff. It's just and the other thing about it is, like, it makes you humble as well. It makes you, because you can you're gonna I'm a white belt. Like, I've just started 6 months, and when I'm walking in the streets of Hobart, I'm feeling like I want to go wrestle with the people over there on the streets. And I don't know what is gonna happen when you're gonna get it to a better level, like a black belt or something, like when you know the skills. But then, yeah, it can, another person can be like really beast as well, so it's just not that it's not about competition. It's about physically and mentally, and yeah, healthy life as well, lifestyle as well.
Yes. I caveat everything I'm saying by, obviously, this is a white belt special, and beauty about being a white belt is blissful ignorance. You know nothing, and that's something that you always obviously try and work on. But I think from what I've discovered is there's a lot more than fitness. It's a whole lot more accountability. I think you hold yourself really accountable for how you treat yourself and how you treat other people, and your life. And I think it's, there's a lot of things that you see in other people, whether it's their fitness, their mentality, their lifestyle, routines, although they may seem superficial on the outside. I think there's a lot of really deep and solid personality traits and routines and that kind of thing that really are obvious when you kind of see these things on the outside. So yeah, maybe you just see someone on the outside that's healthy, but you don't see all the work that's gone into that, and what kind of mental state that takes a toll of. So I think jiu-jitsu, again, really just like a high definition mirror, just going, really, is that what you want to be? It's really beautifully humbling. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think so. It's hard to put your finger kind of on what. It's a very, to an extent, a niche martial art in what you allow to happen to your body. So I feel like everyone's got some pretty common personality traits that are there. So if it's something that you enjoy, then you've got the common personality traits as other people that train it. So the sense of community is just that little bit thicker, I suppose.
Mm.
There's so much more, I think. I mean, I think it's a language, a physical language. Like, it's probably not quite as mentally grueling as learning another language, but maybe it is in a different way. But it's definitely, I mean, if I can picture BJJ in my mind with a mental graph, it'd be like a funnel or a cone that just keeps expanding. you know, and so you're at one point of the cone and you're looking out going, wow, that's really amazing. There's heaps there. And, but geez, I know this much. That's really cool. And then as you go down that funnel, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think that probably once you get to, you know, higher up in the belts, that may slow down a little bit, you know. But at this stage where I'm at, it's definitely a funnel, and it's like looking down a black hole, you know. But maybe let's not call it a black hole. It can be like, I don't know, a green hole. You know, a black hole just sounds a little bit depressive. It's not black. It's like, you know, it's lovely. You know, so just looking down, and there's heaps and heaps and heaps to pick up. You know, and there's like this. I suppose one can never know all the techniques in jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. You know, and that's hugely fascinating. You know, we don't use all the words in our language either. So, yeah.
Probably just gaming. It's not good. I need jiu-jitsu.
I don't know. I'd probably go into judo at this point, or go to the gym, or I don't know, do something else that's not quite as fun. I've been doing a little bit of boxing stuff as well. Maybe I do more of that. It's pretty fun, but it's hard. It's all hard. And I don't think I'd like getting punched, so maybe not. Probably something else that's pretty similar. Although having said that, in a period of time where I haven't been able to do jiu-jitsu, what have I been doing? I've been doing some hard circuit training stuff. I've been doing more time in the gym. I've been hanging out with my dog. It's not very fun. It's not as good as jiu-jitsu. It's probably not worth discussing at length.
I mean, I was like used to watch movies, games, and you know, just movies and games and gaming. I like indoor gaming as well, like snooker. I want to play snooker and PC gaming. We have gaming zones back in our country, so we go to a computer gaming zone and play games over there, like online game. For nowadays, it would be like Fortnite and PUBG, like these type of games, shooting games. Like, so yeah, I would be doing that, and then when I have a little bit of time, just go do some weights and other thing. Yeah.
Wow. Apart from thinking about it and watching it, probably with music. I'd probably do some form of martial arts still, whether it be something as non-traditional martial art as boxing or something like that, or just anything that sort of, I don't know, puts you right back to the start and makes you apply everything, you know, all your life skills to trying to figure out how the hell to actually do something kind of properly and well.
Don't know. I reckon I would have eventually found something else to do. I used to be big into rock climbing. I've always kind of done something a little bit physical. So I reckon I just would have found eventually something. Other than that, just playing a lot of computer games, because that's also something that I enjoy. And hanging out with my dogs and doing some gardening.
Reading books. Read some more books. I mean, I'd be really depressed, I think, and that's just to even think of that kind of scares me a bit, because I really appreciate being able to use all my four limbs, you know, and just having some injuries, but definitely on the scale of severity, definitely, you know, I haven't broken big bones or anything like that. I've done little things, you know, over time, you know, little cracks here and there that have that have really hurt for a while, and I don't seem to leave them alone, and I'll keep training, and it will take much longer to heal. So I really appreciate being able to use all my limbs. I would have to say reading would be a thing. I mean, I'd try and travel maybe more, but and I've travelled, but I'd really probably try and see things that I haven't seen a lot. But I don't know how possible that would be. I mean, you can, but it's really difficult, especially if you can't move. I mean, you know, yeah.
Probably it's hard to know from an insider perspective because I'd like to go off feedback, but I think maybe my guard passing has definitely been my strongest suit. Yeah.
None of it comes easy, but probably ideas around balance. I can't remember if it was something you said specifically, but I don't know when it happened, but I started thinking about the four corners of the table, and just instead of specifically running through sequences, which you definitely encourage us not to do that, to think in bigger picture kind of generalizations, and just something about balance. And when so as soon as I started thinking about balance, everything got easier. The whole, like all of sweeping, all of maintain, like not being swept, thinking about points of contact and hooks and handles and points of leverage on your body and their body. As soon as I started thinking about those things or being aware of those things, everything got easier, I guess.
Number one would be side control, and number two would be Americano. Yeah, and yeah, these two only.
Coming back, consistency. I haven't really had trouble with that. The only time I've been kept away from training is if I'm busy, if I'm doing things that earn me money that I have to do to pay the rent. But I've never had a day where I've gone, I can't be bothered. It just hasn't crossed my mind yet. I don't know if that's a honeymoon period or. But
yeah, probably a little bit.
Even if you really don't feel like it, but yeah, maybe. Maybe once I hit 4 years, I'll be like, oh man. But yeah, I haven't really felt it strong enough to not come because I can't be bothered. So I think that's probably so far the easiest one. Everything else has been pretty damn hard.
Really started to enjoy half guard kind of right before we stopped. I really enjoyed half guard, and I had a couple of people say that I was doing quite well at half guard. So for some reason, I quite enjoyed that. And I think that's something that I might kind of look at again once we can finally start training again.
Pressure. I think. I mean, I don't want to be too definitive. You're the instructor, and you probably have a really good opinion of my good and bad points in jiu-jitsu. That would be more valid than mine. But I think what's been easy for me to pick up, or better for me, is probably the pressure side of things, and just getting in there. I don't know. Yeah, the top pressure, I suppose, a bit.
It's usually chokes, especially against higher belts. Yeah, usually like baseball chokes, or when I'm escaping positions, setups. Yeah, chokes. Yeah.
Any lapel choke. I can't deal with lapel chokes at the moment. I'm getting better with my arm bars after we had that session on escapes. And it also helps that generally everybody's a little bit lighter than me, apart from a few notable exceptions. So I can just panic hold my own gi and wait for the timer if I really want to. But yeah, lapel chokes from the back or from crucifix mount, bow and arrow chokes, all the same thing. But when a hand comes and grabs my left lapel, I know it's going to end badly.
When I first started, it was my arm. My arm, I used to get arm bar all the time. And then what was it? Uh, yeah, I think so. I had the most of the times I used to get arm bar, like all the time.
Oh, let's venture through the thousands. Probably a Kimura. Yeah, I think I have a tendency to sort of just lay on my side and let people kind of run rings around me. And I think, yeah, the Kimura is probably the one that's got me the most.
All right, it depends who I'm rolling with. Everyone's kind of got their own favourite subs. I get choked a lot, I suppose. As opposed to arm bars and things, I probably get choked more than anything else. And it's just because I'm just not very good at defending anything yet, I suppose.
I think it depends who's submitting me. I can't remember. I mean, I know if it's with Eric, it would be something ridiculous, but amazing, truly amazing at the same time. Judo Eric, and if it's black belt Eric, it would be just getting crushed by, Henry the Octopus. That's just he's just got crushing power. Yeah, well, I mean, maybe from the higher belts, triangular type techniques, maybe they kind of just sometimes get me, and yeah, maybe that, I think. I've busted out some good triangles too, though. I know that's for sure. But I shouldn't be getting there, that's for sure as well.
I think humility and open-mindedness and like the ability to sort of ties in with open-minded, but listen and sort of just taking everything in,
So fundamentals. The stuff about balance I was talking about before, like balance and not so much grips, but like points of leverage, like wrists, elbows, lats, backs of the head, understanding like balance and how to interact with that balance meaningfully would be definitely two. The third one would be a good dose of resilience, and I've kind of never had a problem with it but a lot of people talk about, you just get, and I've had conversations with the other white belts about just getting smashed over and over again and struggling with that. I've never kind of had that. It's for me, it's like if I wasn't getting smashed by people that have been doing this for 6 years, I wouldn't be interested in it. And it kind of, I think a lot about my very first class. You weren't there, but it was Tyson took it. It was a pretty small Tuesday night. We did some sparring at the end, and we kind of rotated around, and kind of wrestled with some new guys. I'm like, oh yeah, this feels very similar to judo without a gi. And then I got to Tyson, and I kind of looked him in the eye, and he kind of looked me in the eye. And it was like, and I was like, come on, let's have a sniff. Let's see what this is. And he just like demolished me, and it was awesome. Because for those of you following from home, Tyson's like 30 or 40 kilos lighter than me. He's this tiny little dude, and he just like, it wasn't even really a fight. It was just like playing with, just like doing whatever he wanted. I'm like, this is so cool. This is exactly what you want in a martial art. Like, it does exactly what they all say on the box, which is they give an advantage to the smaller man with good technique, which is like exactly what you want in a martial art. Like, you don't want something that makes the big man win better. And I'm like, cool, once I'm that good, I'll be able to demolish someone that's 150 kilos. Like, too easy. Like, that's like a superpower. There you go. No problem.
The number one would be, I would say that I want to know some basic fundamentals ruling of the game, like what is legal and what is illegal. Because I remember one incident that happened at training.
Yeah.
And I was actually rolling with a really hard belt. It was Tyson actually, and he did what is it called?
Collar check?
No. He was actually around my waist with his legs.
Oh, yeah,
So
close guard.
yeah, close. And I stunned. I before coming to training that day, I actually watched a UFC fight. So so and when Tyson did that, I was like, I just slammed him I wanted to slam him. So Tyson got really angry. I remember that, and I didn't know about that. So I said to him that I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that, and I didn't know anything about that. So then Aaron told me, and Eric Young told me that you can't slam the people on the because it's not good. It's illegal in jiu-jitsu, I would say. So I didn't know about any rules about it. Until now, I really know very less rules about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, principles the thing you've been doing, kata, is really important. It's a good thing. Like, it drills. If you keep drilling those, you can get better in your movement. So I would say that would be helpful as well. And the third, I don't know what would be the third. My knowledge finishes over here.
Patience. Oh, patience, humility, discipline.
It's not easy, but there's a reason to that. Like, there's a reason that it's not easy, and there's a reason that it kind of hurts a little bit when you first start. But it's worth it. You can't get yourself better without training with other people, and just time, I suppose, would be one of the things that time is a big consideration to take into it. You can't kind of go home and practice something 30 times and be really good at it. I don't know, just kind of relax would be one of the biggest hints for me. Something that I took away, someone told me, and I watched some videos that people just said to relax more when doing it. And I found that when I actually relaxed and breathed when I was rolling, it was much easier to defend and see what was happening.
Is patience, would you say that's a principle? I would say patience would be one. knowing your limits would probably be another one, I would say. And when I say knowing your limits can expand, but you've got to know your limits in that moment, because if you don't and you push past that limit, well, you can hurt yourself, you know, especially if you're trying to push that limit with someone who's got more experience than you. So, yeah, you should know your limits and just work within them, you know. No, I think friendship as well. I mean, you have a special training friendship with people you train with. I think that's so it comes down to respect. I think, respect the people you train with. Keep yourself groomed. Respect them. Let them. So that way there's a nice free rolling kind of, you can when you've got that mutual good respect, you can go further, I think. I mean, if that's, I would say those three principles, they're quite broad, but I mean, I don't want to be too definitive on particulars, especially at my stage that I'm at now.
Pretty sad, I think. I guess it just shows that people are in it more for the belt than for the actual martial art. Yeah.
I haven't given up yet, I guess. I was thinking about this the other day, in that I'm kind of there to learn jiu-jitsu, and I kind of want to just get better at it, and I'll just keep coming and getting better at it while I enjoy it. If I stop enjoying it, I'll probably stop turning up. As in, like, if I stop enjoying it, like if I went to 10 sessions in a row and didn't enjoy 10 sessions in a row, I'm like, probably time to find something else. But if I didn't get to that point, I don't see why I would. It seems like a very deep ocean to swim in at the moment, with lots to learn and lots to enjoy. And I'm still on that kind of escalation phase where there's so much easy stuff to learn. So I keep getting, like, you kind of feel like you're going like this, which is good. And that makes you feel good. It makes you keep going back. And as you keep doing this, you're like, oh, I've got more steps to the dance now. So you can turn up and have this, like, way more interesting role with someone than you could 2 weeks ago, and 2 weeks ago. And you keep getting better, and it's more fun, and you get success out of that. So why do people quit? Like, why do people stop doing anything? I guess because it's hard, because people are busy, because it's easy not to exercise instead of exercising, and BJJ is definitely exercise. But, like, I imagine I'll kind of, like, I never thought about it like, oh, I want to get my blue belt, or I want to get my purple belt. It's more like, I want to get better at this thing, and one day maybe you'll tap me on the shoulder and be like, hey, here's whack this round your waist type thing, and I'll be, oh, cool, that's awesome. But not that I've got a different color belt on, but I'm like, cool, I must know more stuff than I did 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, or 5 years ago. That's cool to know. That's good. But it's like, people tend to talk about it, and there's a lot of kind of discussion about it as a goal, which is kind of strange. It's like, because it doesn't really change. I mean, I guess it kind of does with competition. Like, you get put in a different category and stuff like that. But that's kind of the only meaningful. Well, like, I know there's meaning attached to the knowledge that you've got, but the belt is a label. It's not the thing. So I'm pretty relaxed about that relationship. Like, I'd be stoked if someone handed me. I'd be more stoked, honestly, Paul, if you said, "Hey, man, you're getting way better at jiu-jitsu. That's really good." Yeah. Like, I'd be just as happy with that. I'm like, cool, that's good to know. He's an expert. If he says I'm getting better, probably getting better. But I'd also kind of know that because I'd be turning up and I'd be rolling better. So it'd be like a cool confirmation and a satisfaction in that. Why do people quit? Because it's hard, and because maybe they're there for the wrong reasons and they work that out, or I don't know. Maybe I'll quit in a month's time. I don't think so. I don't think I will. I'm pretty yeah, it's pretty interesting at the moment, and it seems to have a lot of complexity to it and depth. And for sure, I'll get busy, and maybe not come as often, but it ticks a lot of my boxes in a lot of ways.
This is really like a very. This is very tricky, actually. Because as a human being, you have a nature of not being, dominated by anyone,
Yeah.
and you wanna be like, you know, arrogance and everything. It comes into factor, but then that's what you get to learn as well. Like, yeah, like I might get better in future. See, till now, this day, I just got like 2 3 tabs. I can count on my fingers, like only 2 3 tabs, and that like, and how, so going every day to training, and it can get a bit frustrating because, like, well, what's the point, going there and getting beaten up and getting smashed day by day. uh, Someone would not like it, and everyone is different, and someone have more pride for themselves, and they want to be something, they want to be, uh, they don't want to be feel like they've been looked down or anything. That would be a reason, like, yeah, because people feel in a different way, and I would say the reason would be like, uh, well, I don't want to be looked down or whatever. It can be a reason.
It makes sense. Obviously, the scale of white belts and the level that they're at it can be very, very different. And I guess it's interesting because everyone's a white belt when they start. So if they come into one class and quit, that's technically a white belt that's quit, compared to like someone that's maybe got a few stripes and they've quit. But yeah, I really struggle to see the belts. I understand where they and their importance and where they lie, but I just love being where I'm at. I don't really. Obviously, I have aspirations to continue, and I'm sure that hopefully one day that will mean that I obtain belts that are other colors, perhaps one that is a shade. But I think it's something that I just love being where I'm at, and obviously looking forward to the future, to things to look forward to. But I think everything like that will come, and I've just got to be in it at the moment and just do the best that I can and learn. And I love being a white belt. It's it's kind of like being a kid again. Everyone around you knows more than you do, and they're just watching you mess up and watching you learn your own lessons, and sometimes in more painful way than others, and teaching you those lessons in sometimes more painful ways than others, via swift asphyxiation or joint lock of some description. But, yeah,
I've seen that put around a lot. It doesn't bother me so much, but some friends of mine do taekwondo, and they built up really, really fast. And I was having a chat with my mate who does that, and he was saying that it's kind of more of a business the way they built it up. And I like how jiu-jitsu is, like, it's got nothing to do with the amount of time that you spend. It's got to do with, once you are capable of doing this, you will achieve this. And I feel like it's just got that little bit more respect to it. So I think it's either something that you'll understand and be good with, or the lack of reward and the lack of promotion is not something that you can deal with. And I think that, especially these days, there's too many impatient people to kind of stick with it for that long.
I think it can be quite overwhelming for a lot of people. I can definitely see that. I didn't find it the overwhelming. I mean, I was overwhelmed, but that didn't off-put me. That just kind of drew me in, because I knew that if that's how good it is, that's amazing, you know. Yeah, I mean, there's heaps of reasons, and it's a pretty big feat, you know, to get to blue belt, and I think a lot of people probably aren't quite prepared to do that. Obviously, there's heaps of reasons. People have different things, and martial arts may not be a priority in their lives. You know, they might just want the experience. They get the experience, and then oh wow, that's insane, and then they go, or they think, oh wow, I can't deal with that, and then they just go, you know. Yeah, so I think that people get quite overwhelmed by it, and you know, you've got to be dedicated, committed to something, you know, and consistent. I mean, when you ask me about some of the things, I think consistency is a big one as well. Like consistency, like if I could add a fourth principle and maybe I don't know if I could take out I don't know, maybe just slip consistency on the side there, because I think you have to be like anything, whether it be mental, physical, both. Like if you're trying to do something, learn something new, you just got to be consistent, you know, and it's hard to be consistent when you're not, you know, when you're overwhelmed by something and you may not be passionate about it for whatever reason. So I think consistency is a big one. Yeah.
I mean, I was probably like that when I first started, yeah. But probably just to take it slow and easy, and always, like, if you got concerns, or just talk to the professor. Just make sure you communicate well, but also don't overstep boundaries. It depends. Like, I mean, if it's a brute guy who's you know, freshy, big dude, strong, I'd be licking my lips, because. But someone like a smaller person, or more humble, or, you know, a female, someone more humble, or you might like just someone that's a bit more gentler. I'll make sure they feel comfortable and welcome, as well as the big brute guy. But I want to go after him and have that battle.
I'd probably explain how tapping works as a key thing. I'd probably tell them that, hey, you know, whatever it feels like, you're doing something with someone else, and they care about your well-being as much as they might act one way or the other. Your rolling partners are there to look after you. They care about you. And I don't know, this is just our club, right? So if someone turned up in our club, I'd say no one here is out to hurt you. We'll all look after you. We're all interested in you hanging around and getting better. It's safe. You'll be safe. It'll be uncomfortable, but learning to deal with that discomfort is good for you. So it's fun. Yeah.
Just come and get smashed all the time. Just keep getting smashed until you get somewhere. Like you can. I would say what Aaron says to me. He always tells me to tap 1,000 times. Tap 1,000 times. Keep tapping, and put yourself in vulnerable position. Don't be like, he's always telling me, put yourself in a vulnerable position to come out, like you might get better something, you might know about something that you will find out that you can do better. So yeah, I will tell that to nervous white belt. Well, there's no one at the moment in the house. Like no one in the club. Everyone is like the white belts even are like way bigger than me as well. Like, you know, Johnny and Jack and Lawrence Churches and Lawrence what is it called? Lawrence Costanzo. Yeah, Costanzo. He's a beast as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. fighting those, and then going to blue. Blue are weapons as well. Eric Amani and Libby and Jesse, and then you come to purple. There's a what is it called? The British guy. I forgot his name.
Oh, Ed.
Yeah,
Ed
yeah,
and
Ed
also
and
Tom.
Tom. Tom, I can't do shit. Tom, I can't do anything to him. He's just like he's like sitting there and do whatever you want. I can't do anything to Tom. I can't. It's sometimes I can't do anything to Nick. You know, the Blue Bear Nick, and to Raymond, the like the fittest 63-year-old I have seen. I can't do anything to them. Like, so yeah, that's what I'm learning every day, and
Just listen. Listen and do your best. Everyone knows better than you do. Ask heaps of questions. Yeah. Annoy the shit out of your professor, annoy the shit out of your coach. Ask heaps of questions because they're almost, I don't know. I think that people love hearing people ask questions a lot of the time. I think people love to give advice. I think unless it's the same question
some people
over
more
and
than
over again,
others.
and it gets frustrating. But
Sorry.
no, that's all right. Very true.
Brand new nervous white belt. Will relax would definitely be one of the first ones. To not be shy to talk about what you're comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with. Because it's one thing that I've noticed at the gym is whether you've got an injury or you're just not very good at something or there's not something that you want done, you just mention that and that's totally fine with everybody. Nobody bats an eye. So don't be nervous about that kind of stuff. And nobody can do it to start with. Like nobody gets onto a mat and does it if they've never been there. So like you're going to be terrible. That's normal. And if you're not terrible, that's kind of weird. So like expect to be really bad and expect to get to an extent smashed for ages. Because that's the fun part of it is the fact that it is that difficult and it is that much to overcome the sense of reward, especially the first time you tap someone or the first time that you just like last that little bit longer. That sense of reward after starting and being nervous is so worth it that, yeah, just go for it.
It's okay. Like, I mean, where I train at with you guys, us, you know, I would say these guys are all cool. Just relax, you know, just enjoy it. I'd just say you'll be overwhelmed. Don't worry about that. You know, they'll take it. They'll respect you. They'll be all right. You know, just enjoy it. You know, that's what I'd say. And just don't let it, you know, being compromised get to you. You know, because you're in compromised positions. You know, and if you're in someone's side control and different varying positions and stuff, and you're always in, you know, especially being the new one, you're always in positions where you're submittable or you're weakest, you know, and it's a lot for people. So it can overwhelm people. To me, that excited me because, you know, that just excites me because of what it is. You know, they're using jiu-jitsu effectively. So, but yeah, I'd just say just relax. These guys are cool. You know, that's what I'd say. I reckon.